Okay, so I kind of wanted to do a little video on the Bambu lab printers versus the Prusa XL. Because when I was looking at the Prusa XL and Bambu lab printers, there wasn't much out there that really explained how it really compares to like a Bambu lab printer. Like, why pay $5,000 for a 5-tool Prusa XL, right, versus buying something like the X1C for $1,200 or $1,400 now that it's not on sale with multicolor AMS. Like, what's the main differences in like an actual user, like everyday person? Now, I love my Bambu printers, and the first one that I got actually was a P1P, which it was that guy right over there. And then I got the AMSs, I got the A1s, X1C, P1S, because they were fantastic and they work really well. The print quality is really good. As you can see, all this stuff was printed on there. And it's awesome. All that stuff. Obviously, I do a lot of stuff for my kids. That's why I'm doing a lot of Pokemon stuff. But like, even this is FPLA. These are all like the anti-vibration feet and stuff. And all those were printed on a P1P and an A1. And the print quality is just fantastic. But I'm really not here to talk about print quality. I think it's a pretty well-known fact that if you have a Bambu lab printer, print quality is going to be good. Even if it's an A1 or an A1 mini, the print quality is great. But one thing I really like about these Bambu printers is their little ecosystem, their slicer, the way that they connect to the internet and they connect to your login, and everything's just seamless, and you send the prints to your printer and it all works. I don't like the whole cloud aspect. I think that's not good, but other than that, the user experience of a Bambu lab printer is absolutely amazing. Whether it's a P1P, X1C, P1S, they're all good printers, every single one. So let's talk about these printers' limitations. The AMS Lite or the AMS, they have the same limitations, and those limitations are you can't put flexible filament or rigid filament through these things. You really can't do multi-material prints with these. They only accept very few filaments like PLA, PETG, for example. I'm sure there's a couple others, but it's really limited to what you can actually run through these. Also, these are extremely wasteful, and I will show you that in a little bit. So, here comes the Prusa XL, right? Why would I get this printer? Well, the main advantages of this printer, one is the XL. It's a little bit bigger. Now, there's a lot of other cheaper, bigger printers out there, but I don't really think there's any really good bigger printers out there at the moment. I think there's just a lot of big printers out there that is kind of a roll of the dice. Like the ComGrow ones look like they're kind of a roll of the dice. If you get a good one, it's great. If you get a bad one, it sucks. And now, when I was doing the research on the Prusa XL, I saw a lot of bad, and that was a reservation of mine. But I will tell you that in my time owning this printer, I have had no print issues with it. I have had 2 or 3 weird things that have happened. Like, it told me one time a tool was in thermal runaway. I don't even know what that is. Like, it wasn't running away. All I did is I just hit reset and everything was fine, and it wasn't even printing at that time. And then a couple times I've had it throw a red screen and some sort of error, and then it just goes away. But never anything happened during a print. The only thing I've had during a print is my kid hit the USB stick, and the USB stick didn't register, and so it stopped my print. And then all I had to do was unplug it and shake it out and plug it back in, and everything resumed just fine. I have had one crash where the middle tool head right there, tool head number 3, it didn't align perfectly one time, but it didn't ruin the print. It just paused. I had to come over here and click start, and everything resumed back up. So that was good. So why do I have 5 heads, right? Like, what is the main advantage of this printer? And that is the fact that this is a 5-head tool change printer. That is the main advantage of it. Really, the main advantage of that is it overcomes the AMS limitations. I can run any kind of filament through this, whether it's flexible or rigid or PLA or PETG. I can run all kinds of different filaments in each head and do multi-material, true multi-material printing. But something about this printer that not a lot of like people touch on, but I don't think it's touched on enough, is how efficient this printer is for multicolor prints. So if you do a lot of multicolor printing, so if you do things like this, it's not even a contest. It's not like it's a little bit more efficient. It is vastly more efficient, and I'll show you guys what that looks like in the slicer. It honestly makes the AMS from the Bambu Labs seem pointless. But before we go check out the slicer, I want to get back on this. I've only had one crash, and it wasn't even a crash. It didn't even fall down or nothing. It just wasn't aligned, and it fixed itself after I hit continue. And then I've had this thing probably do somewhere in the range of 6,000 tool changes so far. Done a couple prints that were 1,500 to 2,000 tool changes a print, and not one issue. I'll show you guys what some prints that I have done with this thing so far. Most of the posts I've seen on this have been negative, and honestly, it's been a great printer. Now, Prusa in general, compared to Bambu, the way of thinking is completely different. I like the Bambu slicer beyond times better than Prusa slicer. It's just their way of thinking is completely different. So if you are used to the way of Prusa thinking, when you move over to Bambu, you're going to think things are a little strange. And the same thing, if you're used to the Bambu way of thinking, when you move over to Prusa, you're going to think things are a little strange. One thing that I had to learn is the Prusa slicer. You can use other slicers, but it takes away the advantage of this printer. If you really want to take advantage of this printer and it's non-waste, you have to use the Prusa slicer, is what I have found. So there are little things with that I will show you, but yeah, it was definitely a learning curve, and it's not nearly as smooth, or the user experience to me is not nearly as good as the Bambu slicer, even though people say Bambu slicer is built on Prusa slicer. What Bambu did to their slicer for user interface is phenomenal. Prusa is just a different way of thinking. So this is the biggest print I have done on the Prusa XL. This is about a foot tall. I don't even know how wide, but it's a foot tall. And this was I think 1,400 or 1,500 nozzle changes, which is crazy because there's not even that many colors. But this was a 3-day print, and it's perfect. There's the print quality, I'd say, is just as good as the Bambus, which is something that I'm really stoked to see, because the Bambu print quality is phenomenal. So I was really stoked to see that the Prusa XL, even with its 5 heads and its tool changing, print quality is fantastic. Okay, so here's Bambu slicer. here's the Squirtle. It's scaled up to 300%, and you can see the model there takes about 299 grams flush. So wasted filament is double that, over double that, plus the tower. So you're talking over a kg to print this Squirtle. Now on the Prusa XL, the same Squirtle, up to 300%, takes 381 grams total, with the tower only using 24, well, that's meters. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know how much grams the tower actually uses, but it tells you right there that, you know, your tower is only going to cost you $1 and the object's going to cost you $7.84. And I believe that this filament, the price on this filament is $25. So you can see how little waste there is, versus on the Bambu it's over 2x the waste, like 2 times what the actual cost of the object is. So just in waste on the Bambu printer would be $14 by these same metrics. So you can see that even though the Prusa XL is a $5,000 printer versus your $1,200 to really to $350 Bambu printer, you know, the $5,000 one's like, why would I buy that? But literally, this printer, from how efficient it is, on your first $1,000 of filament, it will almost pay you back, because sometimes the ratio is even worse depending on the object. If there's a lot more color changes, sometimes the Prusa is like 5 times more efficient. Think about it right now. This is about 38%, a little bit more than 38%. If you were to look at it, this is only using 38% of the filament that the Bambu uses to do this same print. So if you print a lot of stuff that's multicolor and you're going to be using a lot of filament, literally the Prusa will pay for itself and not wasting filament. So that's where I think the Prusa XL really lines up and really lies. Now it's limited to only 5 colors. I think you should be able to hook up a multi-material machine to one of the print heads. I don't see why you couldn't. I don't know if you can or not. There is an option for it. I did find, let me see if I can find it real quick. So right here, there is an option that asks how many extruders you have, and then single extruder multi-material, and I can check it, and it does change a bunch of stuff in the software. So I don't know if you're gonna be able to use one of the extruders with a multi-material. I don't see why you couldn't, but that would be something I would like, because just using one, let's say MMU3 on this would enable it to print, you know, 9 colors, and I could still have the efficiency. So that to me is why the Prusa XL is worth it. Now, if Bambu Labs was smart, they would come out with a big printer that had 3 heads or more, and that you could use an AMS. Because think about that, if you were doing 3 color prints, you would have this kind of efficiency. But let's say if you did a 15 color print, because you have 3 AMSs, 1 for each head, right? It would still be 3 times more efficient than hooking up 3 AMSs to an X1C right now, or a single head printer. So I think that's where it needs to move, in my opinion, but this is where the XL shines. One thing I almost forgot to mention is the print time. So in normal mode, this would take 18 hours and 43 minutes to print on the Prusa, and 20 hours and 41 minutes to print in stealth mode on the Prusa. When it would take 2.8 days, and this is on an X1C, so their best printer, it would take, you know, 2 days and basically 9 hours to print, and that's crazy. So let's say you were in a commercial setup and you wanted to crank out multicolor prints like this. I mean, the Prusa XL, as of right now, in today's market, it would really pay for itself in not wasted filament and time saved. But I do want to be clear about one thing. Something like this, okay, that's a bunch of multi-dip parts that are different colors. Having a bunch of printers like this is better in that sense, because for example, you can buy all 5, because I have all 5 Bambu printers. You can buy all 5 of those for the price of this guy, the way I have it kitted out with the enclosure and the 5 tool heads. Now, if you were going to do multicolor printing most of the time, it would be more beneficial just to have the one print bed because of the filament waste, and just this 5 tool head printer. You'd be way better off getting this than you would a Bambu lab if you were going to print 5 colors or less. But if you are not, and you're just going to print mostly in single color, again, parts like this, then you're way better off. I mean, way better off buying multiple printers to have more output, because the Prusa XL only excels in multicolor prints like this. That's where you're going to get print times that are, like I just showed you, 50% less or even more, like 55% less, which is crazy. And also with all that saved filament. But if you're printing one color items, the print quality is the same, and the print time is the same, and the filament wasted is the same. Also, if you're going to do like things like lithophanes, those don't waste very much filament, and it'd almost be a waste. I mean, you can do it on the Prusa XL for sure, especially if you only have a Prusa XL. Yeah, I mean, do lithophanes. But for me, like that's why I bought an A1 Mini, literally to print my wife earrings and do lithophanes. And so there is a place still for the wasteful Bambu printers where they don't really waste that much filament. Printing a lithophane, I think there's like 5 grams of waste. It's like nothing. But printing stuff like this on there could, not this exact model, but a multicolor print like that, on the Bambu Labs, wastes usually at least double what the model costs. Sometimes, I mean, dude, I've had some models that would take 350 grams to print, and they had a whole kilogram of waste from these things. So that's the biggest killer. Quick recap: Prusa XL is a fantastic printer. I have had 0 issues with it, other than the few little bugs that I explained. It's been a phenomenal printer, and I would highly recommend, if anybody's looking at this and we're on the fence about it, to get it. If you're going to do anything else, the only other thing to do is to see what Bambu Labs comes up with in November. They've been talking about having a multi-head printer as well, so I'm really interested to see that. And if they come out with, like I said, a 3-head multi-tool printer that can use their AMSs, that'll be competitive with this for sure. One last thing I wanted to add is I still have to use the Bambu slicer to get models like this to work. I literally have to open them in Bambu slicer, see the color layout, open Prusa slicer, lay out the colors the same, and then inject the model into the Prusa slicer. Otherwise it won't, it'll just come up whatever colors are over there, they just populate over here and it looks like crap. So that's one thing that I don't think anybody's talked about that I've seen. But yeah, that's why if Bambu Collab comes out with something like this, it'll be sweet, because their slicer, in my opinion, is just so much better. But that's it. That's all I had to say. I'm really happy with my Prusa. Really happy with my Bambu Labs. They both serve a great purpose, and I use them both differently. I like that Technic brick. Like, give you an example, this helicopter right here. Printed that on all my Bambu Lab printers because I could do it all in one afternoon because I have 5 printers printing all the parts. But something like this will never touch my Bambu printer again and will only be printed on the AMS because of filament waste. So, alrighty guys, hopefully this helps somebody out there. This is just kind of a quick review from a user standpoint, not really going over all the technicalities of every printer and stuff like that. Just the quick things that I wanted to know answers of, that I had questions of. Now that I own the printers, I can relay the information on. So, till next time.